Those of us who have seen the previous millennium like to use the excuse that they are too old to learn anything. This is a lame excuse. We can learn anything at any age, but only if we use the appropriate approach. An appropriate approach. Sounds interesting? I will share today a simple way to learn languages. 3 ways, actually. In school, I couldn't learn anything, mostly out of sense of contradiction. This is my reaction to violence, which the modern school system is. There was 2 languages. One is my mother tongue, the default installation by the manufacturer. The other was the local language in the area where I lived. By the time I went to school, I was 6, I spoke them both, almost interchangeably. But the school made me hate learning. Not the learning per se. I couldn't stand how the school imposed it on us. No wonder. The school today is an indoctrination institution which goal is to destroy the child's creativity and personality and make him a docile, obedient element of the system. For me, languages were among the most difficult subjects. Memorizing countless rules of grammar or syntax is not my thing. I hardly know the difference between a verb and a noun, even in my mother language. Yet I write in it without a single mistake. How come, you might ask? Since I was 6, I was reading a lot, several books every week in 2 languages. I believe that our literacy is a function of reading. Only once this belief was shaken. I met someone who was reading much more than me, yet wrote with many mistakes. At first I was perplexed, but then I realized why. This person had mastered and used the speed reading. Naturally, he hardly knew any spelling or punctuation. So I maintain that literacy is directly related to reading. Okay, back to learning. Besides my 2 initial languages, I speak 3 more, plus one that I haven't spoken for decades but still understand. Soon after school, when I started to move around the world, I invented several ways to learn languages that were easier for me. Maybe they will help you too. At least they will rid you of the lame excuse that you are too old to learn. Don't thank me. I will show them to you in the order of increasing easiness or decreasing difficulty. Same. Method 1. Songs. 4 decades ago, when I ran away from home for the last time, music was sold mostly on cassette tapes. Yes, I'm that old. I would buy, or steal, back then I didn't mind, a tape that had not only the singer I wanted, someone with good pronunciation, not like Elvis, but also a paper insert with lyrics. This is essential. Then I would listen to the songs in a Walkman, which I would probably also steal. Why not, if you don't mind? And while listening, I would read the song text. First several times I would just listen and read, without even trying to understand what it says. I'm lazy. Another technical digression. I maintain that there are no lazy people. What we call laziness is just our inner feeling that we don't need it, whether a process or the result. Look back at your life. Can you say that you was lazy to do something you really wanted? I'm sure not. If you didn't want to do something, this is only because deep down you didn't really need it. This is my theory. Feel free to prove me wrong. So I didn't bother to learn and memorize the song words without the context, which would come later when I started to understand what the whole song was about. Then memorizing the words would happen almost automatically. So here's another point of view on my laziness theory. We are lazy when we don't feel like wasting our energy on something. Again, I will be happy to upgrade my understanding. Prove me wrong if you can. So only when the song became familiar, I would grab a dictionary and translate all the words in it that I didn't know. And even then, I didn't bother to memorize them. Lazy, remember? Instead, I would keep listening while reading the text and guessing the meaning each time more and more. After 10-15 repetitions, I would stop reading and only listened. The text was already in my head. After another 10 or so times, I was able to repeat the song myself. By then I would have accumulated dozens of new words and ready-to-use sentences. Method 2. Fairy tales. If you are over 40, your parents likely told you fairy tales, or you saw them on TV, which back then still was an educative and informative tool rather than a brainwashing device. So you know the story of Cinderella, let's say, and such, depending on where you grew up. Since the story is familiar, you can easily understand a big part of it in other languages, especially if you already know some words in it. And you will easier pick up the words you don't know. You will simply guess them by the context of the story. This was my second method of learning languages. I would go to the children's library or children's section of a library, grab a fairy tales book and read the stories I knew. I can hear you wondering whether I stole the books too. No, I never stole books from libraries. Feel too much respect for them. Except once, which was a special case. Some other time about it. Using this method, you take a different approach to learning a language, immediately immersing yourself into the context of a story. Here too, you don't need to constantly distract on translating unfamiliar words, but read the story over and over again, understanding more and more after each pass, while quickly expanding your vocabulary. And the grammar, since you see the whole sentences. Method 3. Memorizing pages of text. The first two methods I invented myself. This one I learned from a spy. Here's how it works. In any fiction book, you take a page with dialogues, read it a few times, then write down and translate all the words you don't know. Again, I didn't bother to memorize the unfamiliar words. Without the context, this is too hard. Instead, I would simply memorize the whole page one at a time. Simply is just a figure of speech. Memorizing a page is hard, even in your mother language, leave alone the foreign one. But it was worth it. I acquired in bulk not only a plethora of new words, but also ready sentence constructions. Then I would use them as is or modify. This method is the hardest of all three, but results are the best. I will conclude this video with my own proverb. A dog gets old when it stops learning new tricks. I know it helps. If not you, somebody else for sure. So share this video with your friends and see them coming up with another excuse not to be able to learn a new language. You are welcome.